Hey Professor, Doug Burwell here again with assignment 5.2b. Once again, I decided to do the video response. I really enjoyed the first one. So I'm taking a leap of faith. I know I could crank out a really clean paper and it would be awesome and I'd seem really smart, but I'm going to go ahead and give the video response a shot again. So thank you so much for this class and this opportunity. So let's dig in. This video response is over the videos Traces of the Trade and the video The Difference Between Us, Race, The Power of Illusion. So really great videos, really important questions. So the first question, one asking about how did racialization play a role in the creation and maintenance of the industry and commerce in Bristol, Rhode Island? How do I believe that affects me? Things like that. Well, let me just start off by saying I was really impacted by this video. It was incredible. The history I understood a little bit. I knew a little bit, but I didn't know to what extent. And I really appreciated how the family members of the slave owners decided to take this world tour and going to Ghana and going to Cuba and tracing their roots and you know the history of their family. And so in Bristol, Rhode Island, the industry there was founded by the slave trade. The main people who were trading their slaves, the De Beers, they built this huge empire of industry on the slave trade. They earned this money from the slave trade and built business, factories, textile plants. And from those textile plants and from those factories and businesses, lots of other businesses formed. And to further perpetuate that, or to make it even worse, I should say, is the family members, the descendants, were also reaping the rewards of education, reaping the rewards of financial blessing from this slave trade even after hundreds of years. So, you know, that stirred a few emotions in me, and it stirred a few emotions in them as well, as they fully didn't understand their family history, and they came to terms with that at the end of the video. And so in this video it says, what issues held significant meaning, raised questions, or stirred strong emotion with you? Hands down, without a doubt, number one was when they mentioned in the video that the first, some of the first people to come over for the slave trade were Portuguese missionaries who would then baptize the slaves and get them saved before putting them on boats and shipping them away, tearing them away from their families, their friends, their culture, their country, everything. I was so angry. That made me so mad. How on earth could Christians, how on earth could the church be so dark during a time, any time in history, so as to get people saved, baptize them in Christ, then send them away for money purposes or whatever? I really didn't understand. I know that there's got to be some more sides to the story there. I'd really be interested in studying that a little bit more. I know that the church has some dark history, but that really bothered me, where how they talked about the church just not standing up. We talked about it in our book, our textbook this week, Divided by Race, as well. How the church has just not stood up for the right social issues. There's fear. You know, there's a lot of different things involved in the church that has prevented them from standing up when they needed to stand up. So that bothered me really bad. So the second question, in The Difference Between Us, Race, The Power of Illusion, to what extent do you think the belief in the illusion of race contributes to the creation and perpetuation of perceptions that lead to a racialization? I think it does a lot. I really do. Before I had watched that video, I didn't understand a lot of things. I felt like there were so many different races throughout the world, and you know, differences, and undoubtedly seeing other people as different, seeing other people as a different race perpetuates the situation and racializes nations and racializes cultures by seeing people as different and not like you. And so, you know, I think that it plays a huge role. And then your next question was, to what extent has the illusion of race influenced your thinking about people whose ethnicity is different from your ethnicity? I think it has a lot as well too. I mean, if I'm really honest with myself, I think that I have been influenced by looking at other ethnicities and saying they're different, even within our own culture in America, you know, with African Americans. I've seen people, their skin color is different, their accents are different, their education, I mean, everything about them is different, and I think that's influenced me, even negatively at times. So, yeah, I think that that's been a really big deal. And lastly, the best question that you asked in question B was what held significant meaning to you. And undoubtedly, I was blown away by the science of this video, specifically the genetic science of this video, where literally there is almost zero genetic difference from one human to the next. We are almost 100% genetically identical to the next person to us. And I thought it was fascinating, incredible to find out that you could be going to school with somebody in let's just say, or church, let's just say we have a white church in white suburbia America, and the person sitting next to you looks like you, acts like you, talks like you, and everything about them is like you, and you even grew up in the same town, and that person is less genetically like you than somebody in Africa or somebody in, you know, the Middle East. You may share more genetic similarity with someone far away from you, with a different country, culture, skin color, and everything, than the person sitting right next to you in your church or in your school. So I thought that was huge. When, you know, we talk about races and differences, that was big, because literally you could be genetically more similar to somebody very different than you. And I think that's huge for breaking down barriers, for people to truly realize that, and that we are almost genetically identical. And question C, provide a conclusion that summarizes your thoughts and describes how this content affects me, and how I will conduct my ministry in the future. The biggest takeaway from both of these videos is before I've always focused so much on how I viewed other people, trying to learn about other people, how I viewed their country or their culture or things about them, and I never focused on myself. But from these videos, something that I learned is, from now I really want to remember how others view me. You know, or Africans Americans view me, or other people from other cultures view me personally, because, you know, that may impact how I conduct myself, how I do my ministry, knowing better how I am viewed by others. And I think that is reflected, that same idea, in our textbook Cultural Intelligence. You know, remembering, having that part of your cultural intelligence, you know, and remembering how other people view you as well. I think that's really important to, you know, increasing your cultural intelligence, being able to interact with cross-culturally in the ministry or in public. So these takeaways this was the biggest takeaway, was, you know, really focusing on how people view me. And so anyways, thank you again so much for this assignment. I really learned a lot, and I enjoyed these video sessions. So God bless, Professor. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.